we started working with Google about 3 years ago. They bought a company called Nest. And you might know Nest. Nest does the thermostats that you can control with your smartphone. And Nest had a very successful early stage of early market. They sold tens of millions of dollars with Nest devices. And this is basically you self-installing this thermostat in your home so you can manage your air conditioning in Florida or your heating in Minnesota without even being there, right? So remote. And now they're moving into, security cameras and other things too, of course.
Yeah.
But for the thermostat example was they sold tens of millions in the early market. Google got excited and bought them for $3 billion. We were brought in to help them cross the chasm. Turns out that the whole product, which we don't have time to get into here in the podcast, but a whole product is what's the total solution needed to solve the customer's pain point or problem in a certain workflow. They had it for the early market. They had the Wi-Fi capabilities. They had the install. They even had a screwdriver and the brackets and the screws in the box with the thermostat to allow you to assemble it and deploy it. Now, if you or I or one of your viewers on the podcast are an early adopter, you'd say to yourself, they've thought of everything. Look at this. Screwdriver, et cetera. This is awesome. Why? On Saturday afternoon, I'm going to spend some time, put this up, get it to run, and my life will be better as a result.
I'll be the first one in my neighborhood with this.
And I can brag about it a little bit too. Exactly. Hey, guess what I've got in my house that you don't yet have, right? Exactly. Right. That first mover for early customers is a big deal too at times. Now, even though this is a B2C example in the case of Nest, what they fail to recognize is that most normal people don't want to spend a Saturday installing their own thermostat in their house. Most normal people have, and people laugh when I say this, they actually have a life outside of technology. They'd rather be spending time with their family or painting or golf or something. So that 5 to 8%, what Nest did was misread that. And this is public information or else I wouldn't be sharing it with you.
Sure.
They misread that and thought that that was an indicator of the entire market needs. So now they launch into the main marketplace with this given true success in the early market and they fail. And the reason they fail is the whole product failed to include something that normal customers wanted in their whole product. What was that? Installation, deployment by somebody other than themselves. They wanted somebody in a white van to drive up to the house with a leather belt on, typically, somebody in their 40s or 50s who's done this a million times, and they're going to come in and install it for you. And Nest didn't have that solution.
That's a great example.
So the example would be they have 100% whole product for the early market, and they had an 80% complete solution for the main marketplace. And as a result, they hit that chasm without having the right solution in place. So it's a non-healthcare example, but it's vivid that sometimes it's not about the product. It's about the deployment, the install, all those things required that complete the solution for the customer, and otherwise they're not going to buy.
Right. Yeah.
Does that make sense in terms of how people sometimes misunderstand the idea about how you actually win in the early market versus the main marketplace?